We've all felt that pit in our stomach. The phone vibrates and it's that family member. You know the one. Before you even swipe to answer, your brain is already calculating, how do I say no to this without starting a third world war? Maybe it's the parent who treats your career choices like a personal insult. Maybe it's the sibling who only calls when they need a small favor that somehow turns into a weekend-long project. Or maybe it's the cousin who insists on dragging up your most painful past mistakes over holiday dinner, every single year, without fail. The reason you're here isn't that you don't love your family. It's that you're exhausted. You're tired of paying what I call the guilt tax. That emotional fee you get charged every single time you try to protect your peace. Today we're not doing a quick tips video. We're going deep. I'm going to walk you through the psychology of why family boundaries feel so impossibly hard. Give you 3 word-for-word scripts you can use this week. And this is the part most videos skip. Show you exactly how to handle the pushback when the people you love don't take kindly to the new rules. By the end of this, you won't just have words to say. You'll have the internal permission to say them. Let's get into it. Before we get to the scripts, we need to understand why setting boundaries with family hits differently than setting them with a coworker or a friend. In psychology, there's a concept called enmeshment. It describes what happens when the lines between where you end and your family begins get blurred. Sometimes over years, sometimes over generations. In enmeshed family systems, a boundary isn't experienced as a healthy limit. It's experienced as a betrayal. When you say, I can't come over this weekend, an enmeshed family member doesn't hear, I'm tired. They hear, I don't love you anymore. And they have tools to make sure you feel that. Those tools usually show up in 3 forms. The first is obligation, after everything I've done for you. The second is comparison. Your sister never complains when I ask her. The third is fragility. I don't know how much longer I'll be around. If any of those landed, you're not alone. Those patterns are incredibly common, and they work, which is exactly why they keep getting used. But here is the hard truth. If a relationship requires you to abandon yourself in order to maintain it, that is not a healthy relationship. It's a transaction dressed up as love. And here's the thing people don't say enough. Boundaries are actually an act of love. Because if you don't set them, resentment builds, slowly, quietly, and then all at once. You stop enjoying the time you spend together. You start dreading the calls. You begin pulling away without even meaning to. By setting a boundary, you're saying, I want to stay in this relationship. This is just the only way I can do it sustainably. Script 1. The unsolicited advice. Buffer. Let's start with the most common boundary violation in family life. The advice giver. This is the person who treats your life like a home renovation project they didn't volunteer for, but have very strong opinions about. They comment on your parenting, your finances, your relationship, your body, your job. Usually with a smile, and usually while insisting they're just trying to help. Here's your script. I appreciate that you're looking out for me, and I know you have a lot of experience with this. But I'm not looking for feedback on this right now. I've made my decision, and I'd really love it if we could just enjoy our time together without going down this road. Let's look at why this works. The opening. I appreciate that you're looking out for me, is what's called a validation sandwich. You're acknowledging their intent without agreeing with their behavior. This matters because it removes the defensiveness from the room before it has a chance to settle in. Then comes the hard stop. Not, I'm not sure, I need advice. Not, Maybe we could talk about this another time. I'm not looking for feedback. Present tense, clean and clear, no crack in it. Now, what happens when they push back? Because they will. They might say, I'm just trying to help. You're so sensitive. Here's your follow-up. I know you're trying to help, and I do value your perspective. But for me to feel comfortable and relaxed when we spend time together, I need this topic to stay off the table. Can we talk about something else? Notice you're not defending your decision. This is important. The moment you start explaining why you made the choice you made, you hand them a list of things to argue with. They will work through every point. Stay in the I lane. I need this. I feel this. No one can argue with your internal experience. Script 2, the time and energy protector. This one is for the mandatory family events. The 3-hour Sunday dinners that drain you for the entire week. And the quick visit that stretches into an overnight stay. The holiday gathering that requires 2 days of emotional recovery. In a lot of families, declining an invitation isn't just rude. It's a statement about how much you love the people who invited you. So we invent elaborate excuses, or we go when we don't want to, and spend the whole time resentful and checked out. Here's a different approach. I'm so glad everyone is getting together, but I've looked at where I'm at, and I'm running on empty. I need this weekend to rest and recharge so I can actually show up for the people I love next week. I won't be there, but I'd love to FaceTime for a few minutes on Sunday, just to say hi. The key move here is what I call the connection pivot. You're saying no to the event, but yes to the relationship. And the FaceTime offer isn't a consolation prize. It's proof that your absence is about managing yourself, not avoiding them. That distinction matters enormously to family members who feel rejected easily. And then the pushback comes. It's only 2 hours. Don't be selfish. We never see you. Your follow-up. I hear that you miss me, and I miss you too. That's exactly why I want to make sure that when we are together, I'm actually present, and not just going through the motions. This weekend isn't the right time. Let's find a date next month that works for everyone. One crucial note. Do not over-explain. Over-explaining is the sound of guilt trying to justify itself. The more reasons you offer, the more material they have to work around. I'm too busy becomes, we'll eat later. I'm tired becomes, you can nap at our place. Keep it simple. It doesn't work for me this time. That sentence is complete. Script 3. The off-limits topic. This is the hardest one and the most necessary. This script is for the family member who keeps returning to a topic that hurts you. Your divorce, your weight, your finances, a traumatic event from your past. You've hinted that you don't want to discuss it. You've changed the subject. But they always circle back, and somehow you always end up sitting in that conversation again, feeling worse than when you arrived. What's been missing is a boundary with a consequence. Here's the script. I love our relationship, and I'm no longer willing to discuss this topic. Every time we go there, we both end up frustrated, and it damages something between us. If it comes up again, I'm going to have to leave for the day. I would much rather stay and spend time with you. But that part is up to you. Read that last line again. That part is up to you. You've just handed the responsibility back. You're not punishing them. You're telling them clearly what your response will be and letting them decide how the next few minutes go. This is the most powerful of the 3 scripts because a boundary without a consequence is just a request. If you say, please don't talk about that, and then sit there for an hour while they talk about it, you've taught them that your limits don't mean anything. Consistency is what gives boundaries their weight. Now wonder, what if they bring it up anyway? 5 minutes later. You don't argue. You don't raise your voice. You say, "As I mentioned, I'm not able to have this conversation. I'm going to head out now. I love you. Let's try again next week." And then you leave. That's the part that feels impossible the first time. Your heart will be pounding. You'll want to stay and smooth it over. But following through is the whole thing. That's where the boundary actually lives. There's something you need to be prepared for, and most boundary advice doesn't warn you about this enough. When you start holding a boundary with someone who isn't used to it, their first response is almost never acceptance. In behavioral psychology, this is called an extinction burst. When a behavior that used to get a reward, in this case your guilt and compliance, suddenly stops working, people don't quietly adjust. They escalate. They get louder, more hurt, more dramatic. They push harder before they stop pushing. Think about a child in a shop who wants sweets. If the answer used to be yes and now it's no, they don't nod politely and walk away. They make a scene. If your family starts calling you cold, difficult, selfish, or different since you started watching those videos, that is the extinction burst. It means the boundary is working. You are changing the dynamic of a system that has been unbalanced for a very long time, and systems resist change. The mantra for this season is simple. Their reaction to my boundary is not my responsibility. My responsibility is to be kind, clear, and consistent. Setting boundaries with family is like building a muscle you've never used before. The first few times, you'll be shaking. Your voice might wobble. You might cry on the drive home and wonder if you did the right thing. That is normal. That's just the old version of yourself making room for someone new. You deserve relationships with your family that don't cost you your mental health. Not perfect relationships. Real ones, where both people's needs get to exist at the same time. Here's your challenge for this week. Pick one of these 3 scripts, just one, and use it. Not on the biggest, most explosive issue, but on something small. Build the muscle before the heavy lift comes. Drop in the comments. Which of these 3 situations feels hardest for you right now? I read everything, and I want to know where you're at. If you want to keep going deeper, subscribe. I'm here every week talking about the kind of inner work that actually changes how you move through the world. I'll see you in the next one.